Depending on what car you're coming from, I like to consider a car like the GTI a really comfortable four-seater go-kart that you can daily drive. Because of the power to weight ratio and the way these cars are set up, there's a really comfortable car that sticks to the road really well. That's an absolute blast to drive. Today we unbox a upgraded sway bar for the GTI, we install it, and then we get our reactions to driving it. And then in another video after this, we're going to be taking it out to the canyons to see how it drives and how much better it handles with this upgrade. I'm gonna be completely transparent with you. I'm not proud of this. I didn't realize there was a sweet ECS decal right here that got messed up in the process of unboxing. So I'm pretty sad about that. I'm gonna leave it on there, and then when we install it, I'll probably remove it because that's just gonna get torn up. Don't do what I just did. That is not cool of me. Oh well, live and learn. You'll see that these have little nipples on top. This is for grease so that when the sway bar moves and flexes with these bushings in here, you won't get any noises or squeaking or anything like that. These look really nice. One thing to keep in mind that these bushings are 90 durometer, and durometer is the measurement of how hard or soft a substance is. So these are a little bit harder, so you have less flex where the sway bar mounts to the car. That's just one way to help with the flex to make the car act a little more aggressively when it comes to handling. On top of just having a thicker sway bar that won't let flex happen, you increase that also at where the sway bar mounts using a harder bushing. This is the 25mm sway bar upgrade from ECS Tuning. I'll have it linked in the description. Also, if you guys have not seen our GTI jet tags here in the Karma Speed garage, if you go to karmaspeed.com, you can grab yourself a really rad GTI jet tag. We have other brands as well as Chevy, Ford, a basic Volkswagen one, TRD for Toyota, a bunch of different stuff. We have a Volkswagen t-shirt on there as well that I'm not wearing right now. You guys can check that all out on karmaspeed.com. If you find the content entertaining, valuable, you learn something from it, that's the best way to support the channel. And we just added our first performance product from the last video to the Karma Speed site. So we're growing. We appreciate your guys' support, and we're looking forward to seeing some orders coming in and you guys getting these sent to your house. They all ship here from the house from Randall and I, and we really appreciate you. Before we get into the install, you want to understand how a sway bar works and what it does so you know what you're paying for. So if you look under here, we have our end link attached to our lower control arm. So you see this little bolt sticking through. Our end link is up inside the lower control arm. Then that attaches the sway bar to the suspension basically. And so you have your mount for your sway bar right here. This is our factory sway bar that goes right above the exhaust all the way across. And what this does is this adds the metal bar there so that when one wheel travels up going around a corner, it pulls up the other one with it, so it attaches the two together. So when you go around a corner, as one side goes up, the other one goes with it, and it keeps the car level. And that's what makes a sports car, handle really well, is having sway bars front and rear. And it's just depending on how stiff some of them are, it really keeps the car level and makes it ride more aggressive. You'll have a little bit of flex from factory to keep it comfortable, but if you want to get more performance out of your car, we're going to put a beefier sway bar and stiffer bushings to get a more agile, aggressive driving car. So that's what you're paying for. It's going to basically keep these wheels more together as they go around corners and move up and down. It all stays kind of in one uniform motion going up and down, which makes the car handle really good. These lightweight front wheel drive hatchbacks, the rear of them are so light that when you go around corners at certain times, it wants to kind of slide out and get real light. So the more aggressive sway bar we can put in, the more it's going to keep the rear end of the car planted and handle better. It's a very common thing if you've driven your car really hard around some canyon hills or something, you'll feel the rear end start to kind of slide out. So I'm excited to see the difference, because of all the hatchbacks I've ever had, I've never upgraded a sway bar before. So this should be huge for how this car handles. We're going to start the install process and Randall's going to show us the way. But just so you guys know, if you don't have a lift at your house, don't be discouraged. Karma Speed here, we're all about building confidence in the garage, and we're normally using a jack and jack stands, which we encourage you to do that because this install is very, very simple. But we have this to help our lives go a little bit faster since we do this day in and day out, and also make it a lot easier for filming so that you guys can see with your own eyes through the video exactly what you're going to get into, because once you get in there under the ground, it's so hard to film and stuff. So I hope you guys understand. Don't be discouraged by the lift. Randall's going to give us a rundown on all the tools we need to do this install, and we just finished it, so we know this is accurate.
So on these German cars, so on this Volkswagen here, you'll have a lot of these triple square bits of hardware on the car, so it's a good idea if you own one of these to buy this kit right here. I got this specific one off of Amazon. So we have for our end links, we have a M6 and then an M10 for our sway bar bushing bracket. That's what this one right here is for.
And those are the triple squares we pulled from the kit.
13 millimeter, which is going to remove our sway bar end link from the lower control arm. We have an 11 millimeter right here, which is what we use to remove our V-band clamps. And then to install the new hardware for the sway bar bracket, you're going to use a 9, and then we have a couple extensions.
This is an Allen head.
You can either use the regular manual ones, or these make it a little bit easier to put it onto a socket.
If you don't own the sockets, you should. They're saving a lot of time.
They definitely do. 13 millimeter ratcheting wrench right here, and we got a 16 millimeter ratcheting wrench. 13 millimeter was used on the lower control arm to remove the sway bar end link. 16 millimeter is used to remove the upper portion of the end link. We have a torque wrench right here. You can buy a similar torque wrench that does do degrees for probably like 60 bucks on Amazon. I don't know as far as how accurate it is, but with this kind of stuff you don't need super precision, so that one will work just fine. This right here is an electric ratchet. Milwaukee makes one very similar for half the price and does the same job. Same thing with their impacts. Milwaukee makes one as well, half the price. Right here we have a ball peen dead blow hammer. We use this to remove the V-bands from, once they're heated up, they kind of embed themselves into the exhaust, and then we use this pry bar right here to actually pry those V-bands free.
We'll have all the tools linked in the description. We have a really helpful list on karmaspeed.com. If you go to the resources tab, you can see a bunch of stuff there, but we'll do this individual stuff down in the description for you guys, so that when you go out and do it, you know exactly what to do. And this is really random. I'll leave this in the list too. Randall and I each have this Milwaukee knife to open boxes and tons of things, so this is something we use literally on the daily. I'll throw that in there too. Randall, take it over. What's your rating for hardness level if you're a beginner working on DIY cars? How does this make you feel? What do you rate
For the
this?
sway bar, probably like a 3 out of 10. It's very simple, maybe even a 2. I mean, there's a little bit of stuff going on in there, but it's really only 2 pieces that are holding it in. You got your main sway bar bushing brackets, and then your end links, and that's really it. And we're not swapping the end links on this one, so we can actually just remove it straight from the sway bar itself. So right here, I think this is a 15 millimeter. I gotta verify that still, but if you're removing that or changing out the end link, you would just remove these 13 millimeter, this nut and bolt right here, and that'll get it out completely. But we're just going to be changing out the sway bar, so we can leave this in.
Right here, these are triple square bits. There's a couple other names for them, but we'll have them linked in the description. This is a Volkswagen Audi German car thing. You got to order these on Amazon, so we'll have that linked in the description for you. Other than that, you can use a basic wrench, ratchet. Randall always has on him his snap-on electric ratchet. This is not necessary at all, but it does make the job go faster, and it's super rad to have. But you can always just use a regular ratchet.
So this end link is a 16 millimeter. So go ahead and we may have to remove it completely, only if this end link doesn't want to come out and it wants to fight us, then we'll go ahead and remove this as well to get it out, but we'll see.
I don't think it's gonna move.
Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. Yeah, we're gonna have to remove it. It's the hardware inside or the nut inside is spinning.
What size we got going on?
13 millimeter on the nuts or on the bolt side, and then 13 millimeter on the nut side. This is a size M10. I don't know exactly what this style
Triple square.
triple square, so it's a M10 triple square.
It's super windy. We're sorry about the audio, but it should be all right with this what you call dead cat. It's this hairy thing you might be seeing in the view right now. It's saving your audio.
Just gonna wiggle that out. May be able to do this without having to take the exhaust off if we're lucky. So once you start removing this, so if you see the inside of that bolt is actually starting to spin with it. Inside of there is fit, so you can actually fit a, what is this, an M6 triple square. And you want to go in the reverse direction. Make sure to keep this for the right side.
The video that I saw had an aftermarket exhaust and they were able to remove it, so there was probably more clearance with an aftermarket exhaust. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the stock cap back and then swap our Unitronic back on after we do the sway bar. So it kind of works out for us. It's a bummer for you, but it's just a little bit more work, and Randall tells me it's just nothing but time. So what size is that?
13 millimeter.
If you guys don't know how to take off a factory exhaust, you guys can go watch the exhaust install video where we removed the stock one. Super simple, we won't break it down in this video, but we'll get this swapped out real quick and get back to this sway bar. Picking up where we left off, go ahead and get this end link off. This guy is done right here. We had a little bit of a mishap, so we're picking up our filming here at night, but I went ahead and put the new sway bar on the table. I'm gonna reattach our OEM end links, and then we can throw it up in the car. We have an M6 triple square socket, like we talked about from that kit, a 13 millimeter wrench. You're gonna need both of those to get your end links on, because on the end link you have a triple square. That's where you're gonna put it in the middle. So you're gonna slide it through here, put your nut on the other side, twist it on by hand, throw on your wrench. Then you're gonna go the opposite direction with your triple square and tighten it. And it should just be snug. Once you take it off, you should still be able to move your end link around. And now we're ready to slide it up in here like this. Ours was super misleading because the ECS sticker is upside down. I don't know if that's normal or not, but it is what it is. Got it threaded in by hand on both sides here. Randall's gonna go ahead and put the top two in, and then we'll tighten it up and torque it down. If you want to use a jack or a pole jack like we have here, if you're on the floor, just slide a jack under here, put some pressure on the suspension. It's gonna take some persuasion to get your end link to line up. And then Randall, show that little
This is a punch.
yeah, it's a little punch. How much torque we going?
So 20 newton meters plus 90 degrees.
If you guys don't have a torque wrench, I'll leave one linked in the description. It's affordable, Amazon, something that you should have in your garage. You'll use it all the time working on cars. That's that extra 90. We'll do that to all four. And then we'll tighten these and we're good to go. Unitronic exhaust bolted back up after taking a little break from, I left the stock exhaust ever since we did that test of aftermarket downpipe with stock cat back. I actually left it on, but I missed the loud, so I put this one back on, and we're doing that turbo upgrade, so I want to have it loud for that because that will be rowdy. Sway bar is looking good, everything's in check. Time to lower it, and we'll go for a drive tomorrow and catch up. Next day, taking the car out, see what it feels like. I don't know if I'm tripping. Now the road's not even where I'm at, but it looks like it did raise the ride height in the rear just a little bit. I'm not expecting anything crazy until we go out to the canyon roads. Just to finish this video out, kind of gives you what you can expect. We'll go around the block. I'm gonna get the car warmed up a little bit. Can you feel it going around a regular corner in town? Just a little bit. And if you've never driven cars like this, the rear end is so light that just a little bit of help with this sway bar, it just keeps the rear end of the car planted. I've been trying to drive around a little bit and I just haven't had really any luck, so I'll be following up with you guys in another video where we go out to the canyon mountains and really kind of give some feedback and kind of get some good feedback on if this is worth it or not. But I really think it will be, but we will see firsthand, and I want to experience it myself. So if you guys want to purchase the sway bar, I'll have a link in the description, as well as the GTI jet tags and such on karmaspeed.com. Grab a Volkswagen shirt as well, of course. And I appreciate you guys' support, and I'll see you in the next video.